Never had much to say to him, really. We were very different.
She never said, how come you're not doing it? Or, like, what, are you scared? It was more like, Sean, things are getting worse, you know? Are you gonna do it? Could you do it, like tonight? I felt like I was the only one who could help her.
I'd tell Sean, someday you're gonna help someone and you're gonna get in trouble. Someday you won't know when to say no.
If she'd told me, I wouldn't have believed her. But then I would have thought about it. I would have done something.
I loved my father. He took us shopping and helped us when my mother was sick.
If Mother Mary came down and told me he was doing that, I would say, Mother Mary, I do not believe you. A lot of people are sexually abused. They don't go out and kill anyone.
Just the way he was with her. The way he touched her, the way he hit her. The way he'd get upset whenever she'd paid attention to me. You know, it wasn't the way a father should be with his daughter.
I believe my father's in hell, and he can still control my life. A lot of bad things are happening that I think he's making happen.
It's a 56, right?
Yeah, Dad, a 56 Chevy, and it is Sherry. I can't believe the guy only wants $3 grand for it.
283 V8. Man, those babies could haul. Right here? You know where that gas cap was?
Yeah, Dad, you said.
Underneath the damn taillight. Right underneath the damn taillight, you'll flip this little thing up and there's the gas cap. The coolest car you ever saw. Your old man was real cool, right?
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah.
Look, the car's out back. We'll just go through the hall.
Hey.
Yes, sir.
So in 1957, they go from a 230 to a 275, right?
Right.
They chop a foot off. They add this funny fit. It's worth twice as much money as it would have been. Prizes, aren't you?
We got you, though. You didn't guess, did you?
No!
Oh, happy birthday, son.
Ma, I thought you were bowling!
Oh, little Kathy planned it. But she's not feeling too good, Jim.
She's fine. Where's my little peach? Come here, you!
Happy birthday, Daddy!
Oh, you! Where is your sister? Huh?
She's over by the bench.
Let's go see her. Come on. Hey, you, come on. Come here. Marion.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Tommy.
Jim, give me a call about the car.
How you doing, Dave?
Happy birthday, Jimmy. Hey, Jimmy, 40 big ones.
Big Mike.
Happy birthday, Daddy.
I told the bank I can't repay the loan until I get my tax refund. Now they want to repossess my camper.
How much you need?
No, Jim, I'm not asking.
No. You got a problem, you come to Jim. Now, how much you need?
$2,200.
$2,200, that's nothing. You come by the house tomorrow, I'll give it to you in cash. You know, don't you worry about it. You pay me back when you can.
You're too generous, Jim.
Ma, it's only money and I got plenty of that. I mean, look at this. Ma, I made it to 40 years old. I got everything. A great family, a good job.
You deserve it.
I got more than that, Mom. I got friends. You just look around this room, Mom. There's not a man in this place who would not come to me if he was hurting. That's the important thing. You don't have friends, you don't have anything. You know, I have no complaints. No complaints at all. Cheryl Pearson, get over here. So you gonna dance with your old man or what?
this?
This is my party. This is my music. Better than the junk you kids listen to.
Some girls pop and some girls swing. Some like pop more than anything. Some guys dance and some guys don't. And some have girls that say they won't. I know something you all could use and I
Have a good time, huh?
Yeah. It's a great party. It's all for you.
One, two, three!
Eat your vegetables, sweetheart.
Can I have some water?
Joanne, you know the rules. You've got to finish your dinner first.
Jim, why don't you just let her have
Kathleen, she cannot have any water until she finishes her dinner. Hey, I thought I told you to get a haircut.
Well, I haven't had time, Dad. I got a lot of the stuff.
Don't talk back to me. When I say get your hair cut, you get it cut.
Yes, sir.
Joanne, would you get me my pills? They're in the kitchen on the table. Thanks, hon. Cheryl's turned into a good little cook, hasn't she, Jim?
Certainly has. So, who's gonna watch TV with me?
I'm gonna go.
What?
I'm gonna go.
What are you gonna do? Go out and hang around with those jerk friends of yours, huh? When are you gonna get a job, huh? When are you gonna be a man? Do I gotta support you for the rest of your life? How about you, sweetheart? You gonna watch TV with your old man?
Sure, Daddy. I just gotta do the dishes.
Kathleen? Kathleen, what are you on the booze again, huh? Stumbling around like that? What are our friends and neighbors gonna say? Come with me. Come with me. All right, now, you comfortable? At least we got you out of the hospital, huh? Cheryl! Leave the dishes. The movie started.
Just a minute.
Come on!
Lord, those who have died still live in your presence. And your saints rejoice in complete happiness. Listen to our prayers for Kathleen, your daughter who has passed from the light of this world. Let us bow our heads, please.
Come from?
England, I think.
How did he get to America?
On Mayflower, I guess.
So he was a pilgrim too?
I think he just helped them kill the Indians.
Cheryl?
What?
How come Jimmy doesn't live here anymore?
Because Dad got mad and said he had to leave.
Why?
I don't know, Joanne. Because he's got long hair. Because he wants to be a musician. Because he won't do as he's told. You know as well as I do. Come on. Dad will be home soon. Finish your homework.
You know what?
What?
I'm glad that you're my sister.
Yeah. Me too.
I tell him 2 acres, upstate New York. You can build on it. Get out of the city while you can. So gratefully, he says, yeah, I can't believe it. $20,000.
So can I go to a movie tonight with Rob? Please.
What time you be back?
Dad, it's Friday. It's not school night.
Yeah, I said what time.
Well, we'll come home right after.
Yeah, just make sure you do.
So I can go?
Yeah, I said you can go. Just watch out for that boy. Don't get knocked up. I got enough problems of my own.
Dad, I'm home. Daddy? Dad?
Yeah, I heard you. So how was the movie?
It was okay. Joanne, you should be in bed.
Nah, she was just watching TV with her old man, keeping him company, weren't you, Peach? You go to bed now.
Night, Daddy. Night, Cheryl. Night, Rob.
Night.
Night, Cheryl.
Hey. Hey, he's not mad at you. What's wrong?
Nothing.
Be real careful. You know, it's 6:10 in the morning, icy conditions, 28 degrees. People are banging to each other like a bumper cars out there. So be real careful. Matter of fact, you might want to take some rubber strips and
you
spray
wake
around
yet?
your car this morning because you're going to be spinning all the way up and down the hills. Be careful.
Hey.
The traffic copter up in the air says.
Hey.
It's a parking lot, so be careful on your way to work this morning. Don't forget Big
Are you
Bob
awake yet?
this weekend. Big Bob's discount free. You got to go out there and check it out. I
Oh,
went down to
no.
South Bob.
Yeah, well, you were late for school yesterday. I do not want you to be late for school again. Now, don't fall back to sleep again.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Crank it up and rip off the knob.
It was 6:15 and I was getting up. And I got to the door and I saw him lying there, so I ran up to see if he was okay.
And then what happened, Cheryl?
Well, he didn't talk or nothing. He just lay there. So I ran next door and screamed for help.
And who came to help you?
Big Mike. He ran out and said Dad must have slipped on the ice or something. Then he called the ambulance. Is my father going to be okay?
Didn't the officer tell you? Honey, your father is dead.
Dead? My father's dead?
Well, he had a cable TV business on the side, invested in real estate, bought and sold used cars.
So that's where the money came from. What else?
People seemed to like the guy. They felt sorry for him. He was strict with his kids, more so since his wife died last year. He's been having real problems with his son.
My brother was a fine man. Everybody liked him. He was...
Yo, Grandma, what's going on? Hey, Rob. Okay, folks. Time to hit the road. Y'all got homes to go to. Come on. That's the way. All right. Good job. Hey, this is yours, right? All right. Cheryl, we got anything for dinner? I'm starving.
Don't you know what's happened?
Yeah, I know, Aunt Marilyn. I'm the boss now.
It is a great loss knowing someone died that was so dearly loved. He treated some people like a brother or sister, some people like a daughter or son. Our dad believed in telling things how they were. He was strong-willed, but soft-hearted. He cared for a lot of people as they cared for him. And he'll always be in our thoughts in everything we do. We truly believe he is lying with my mother now and is resting in peace away from all pain. He did a great job as a mother and father this past year, and we all knew he tried his hardest to comfort us through everything. He was our best friend, as well as our dad. We will miss him dearly, but now we have to take one day at a time and hope he will be proud. And we believe that one day we will see him again. Thank you, Cheryl, for these beautiful thoughts.
The old man like these kids, that's all I'm saying.
Why, you're wrong. You got a hard-working guy who's devoted to his kids, who's trying to make it as a single parent.
Guy who collects expensive toys and loans money to anybody who asks him. Big man in a small neighborhood. But think about that house. The pieces don't fit. There's something missing.
I don't see it.
Look, his wife was sick for years before she passed away. But there's no girly magazines in the nightstand, no women's phone numbers in his book. He was 42 years old. He didn't have a girlfriend?
I don't see it.
You don't want to see it. You really think the son did it?
Look, the kid has no money. His old man's taking him off the bank accounts. A week before Pearson gets blown away, he calls his lawyer to get little Jimmy's name off the will. That's motive. I know the kid's involved. I want to bring him in.
How you doing?
Good, Jimmy, good.
Gonna be a hairdresser, are you? My dad said to learn a trade, and I don't have to get mine cut. So what's happening?
We've got something new on your dad's case.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I'd like to talk to you.
What about?
Oh, this isn't the greatest place. You mind coming down to headquarters?
So, what'd you come up with?
I know who one of the murderers is.
Oh, yeah? Who?
You.
Get out of here. I got nothing to do with
You're in it up to your neck.
No way, man. Not me.
That's not what I hear.
Well, you're hearing wrong because it wasn't me.
Jimmy, if it wasn't you, who else had a reason to kill your father?
My sister, Cheryl.
morning! Oh, it's 10 after midnight. Oh, hello, Detective.
Sorry to come by so late, Mrs. Pearson.
Well, as long as you're here, you might as well come in.
Thank you.
Call me Mom. Everyone else your age does.
Remember, I promised I'd find out who killed your son?
Well?
You're not gonna like what I have to tell you. You understand your rights, Cheryl? All right. Now, Rob told us most of it, but I'd like to hear it from you. When did it start?
When I was 11,
How did it start?
wrestling. We'd just be wrestling around.
What would happen?
He grabbed me.
Where did he grab you?
He was my father. He said if I told, he had a blanket. We watched TV. That's how it started. No one saw.
Where was your mother?
She was sick. She'd be sleeping on the sofa. I go in his room and watch TV.
Cheryl. I know this is hard for you, but you don't have to feel bad because it's nothing we haven't heard before. When did he do this to you?
At night. Late at night.
Where was your sister?
Asleep in her room.
And your brother?
Working. Up working or sleeping.
Hey, Cheryl, I have to ask you this question. Did you ever have intercourse with your father? How old were you?
13.
Couldn't you have told someone?
I didn't think anyone would believe me.
You ready to go on, Cheryl?
I guess.
Okay. Tell me what happened.
Hi, Cheryl. Guess we really got creamed in basketball last night, huh? Cheryl, are you okay?
I'm fine.
Is everything all right with you and Rob?
Yeah. Everything's great. I gotta go. See you later.
Okay, check out this part. You quoted Beverly Wallace as saying, I hired the guys who paid $4,000 to have my husband killed. Look at this. She wanted her husband dead because she was tired of his physical abuse and urging her to become a prostitute to raise money. It'd be gross.
Who'd be crazy enough to do that? Who'd kill someone for money?
I guess anybody would if the money was right.
Oh, yeah? How much money would you do it for?
$1,000?
Sean Pica, you are charged with second-degree murder. You're also charged with second-degree conspiracy. How do you plead?
Not guilty.
Robert Cuccio, you are charged with conspiracy to commit murder. How do you plead?
Not guilty.
Cheryl Pearson, you are charged with second-degree murder. You're also charged with second-degree conspiracy. How do you plead?
Not guilty.
Cheryl Pearson is more of a victim here than a defendant. She's been a virtual prisoner in her own home for the last 5 years. Her father was a large man, powerfully built. She's a 16-year-old girl. She did all the work around the house during her mother's illness and after her death. There was sexual intercourse with her father. And one of her major concerns became that it was beginning to happen with her 8-year-old sister.
This is very hard. My son Sean is from a family of police officers.
How will you pay the $100,000 bail?
Mr. Ginelli, how am I going to find $50,000?
We'll get the court to lower it.
But how? And why would they do that anyway?
She's pregnant.
What?
She says it's her father's baby. That should be enough to get her out.
It was, a game at first, like fantasy. I never meant to kill him. But she kept coming back. Yeah, over and over. Sean, when you gonna do it? When, Sean? I didn't know why, but I could see she was hurting. And nobody else was gonna help her. And I said I would.
Then you got the gun from your buddy?
Yeah, I got it from Mike.
Sean, I don't want you hanging out with Michael anymore. I don't know what he's up to, but I'm sure it's nothing good.
Mom, I promised Michael would help him. You and Dad are always going on about keeping commitments.
Your dad wouldn't know a commitment if he fell over one.
Yeah, I tell you, him and Carrie Ann are trying to buy a new house.
Oh, well, good for them. At least I'll know what he's up to. Which is more than I can say for your stepfather.
Mom, that wasn't your fault. Yeah, listen, I gotta go, okay? I won't be back late tonight, though, because I'm gonna get started on your new counters. Mom, you're gonna get some more sleep. You're working too hard.
Well, somebody's got to support this family. Well, at least I've got you.
Yeah. Goodbye, Mom.
Bye, honey.
Try them separately, Ed. The boy committed the murder. You've got his confession.
But she hired him, Paul. She took $400 from the safe and paid him to kill her father.
After 5 years of sexual abuse.
For which there is no corroboration.
The tests on the bedding will prove that. He had sex with her the night before the murder. When we get the sheets back from analysis...
Then we'll see.
The paternity test, when she has the abortion, that will prove abuse, even to you. Come on, Ed, give her a break.
Like the break she gave her father? Please, Paul, you know damn well that abuse isn't the issue here. She paid to have her father murdered. I mean, if we don't throw the book at her, what are we saying to those other kids out there who are being abused? That it's okay to blow away your parents if they give you a rough time?
A rough time? A rough time? He got her pregnant? He beat the hell out of her?
You only have her word for that. Why didn't she call the cops? The child abuse hotline number is on page 1 of the phone book. Why did she have to kill him?
Because she was afraid of him. And most of all, she was afraid he was starting on her younger sister.
Who are you?
I'm a doctor, Joanne. The kind of doctor who talks about feelings. Do you understand?
I guess.
In fact, I really came over to see you. There's something we have to tell you, and it's sort of hard to say.
What is it?
Well, we found out that Cheryl had something to do with your father's being killed. One of her reasons was because she says your father did something to her that fathers aren't supposed to do with their daughters.
You know how Mama and Daddy said to tell them if someone touches you? Down there.
No. No, it isn't true. Cheryl didn't kill my daddy.
Joanne, honey.
My daddy would never.
Well, of course he
My
wouldn't.
daddy loved us.
Should I go to her? Or maybe you? You think we did the wrong thing?
No, it's better that she hears about it now than from her friends at school. Give her a moment. Let her have some time.
This is my brother Jimmy at his graduation. And this is my sister Cheryl. And this is my grandma. And this is Aunt Marilyn. And here's my mom with my dad. This is my family. See?
You'll share Kim's room and Joanne will sleep with me.
Okay. Can I go see Rob now?
I don't think that's a good idea.
Well, just for a little while.
No.
But
I said no, and as long as you're in my house, you'll do as I say.
My bosses are dead, Aunt Marilyn.
And you're out on bail for murder, remember? Go put your things away. I don't want to hear another word about Rob.
How did your father feel about Rob?
He put up with him. He didn't like me going with him. I'd come over and we all sort of sit there.
Rob must care for you a lot.
Yes, he does. We're getting engaged after I graduate. He told his parents.
Did you tell your father?
No.
Tell me more about you, Cheryl. What will you do when you leave school?
I want a beauty shop, my own place. With like a dozen stations. And there'll be this part for kids. You know, with toys. And a merry-go-round horse. And maybe a rocket ship for the boys. You know, so the mothers can relax while they're getting all fixed up.
That's a wonderful idea. I'm sure you do well. What else do you think about?
You know, getting married. Stuff like that. I want this big wedding with all the bridesmaids in pink dresses and me in all in white with a veil down to the floor. And then after we'll have this mammoth party and with a band and everyone I know will be there. And then after the party this big white limousine will come. You know, the real big kind, like a half block long or something, with a TV and a bar. And then we'll just get in and take off.
Where will you go?
Away, I guess.
Dr. Kate Barker to the OR stat. Dr. Kate Barker.
How are you feeling?
It hurts. Am I gonna lose the baby?
Don't be scared, okay? It'll all be over soon. I'll be here when you come out. Don't worry.
She miscarried?
She was bleeding some this morning. The doctor said she should rest. I was at social services all day. There's all this paperwork. I can't afford to support Cheryl and Joanne. I've got to get some money.
You understand about the test they'll run on the fetus? We want to establish paternity.
It won't be my brother's baby, I can tell you that. I hate this place. They brought Kathleen here when she first got sick. I used to watch my brother like a man possessed. He was so worried. Thank God she's not here today. Joanne's with a neighbor. I've got to go.
The lab tests on the bedding and clothing were negative. Your client lied, Paul. Our father didn't have sex with anybody the night before he died. Not in that bed.
Using the DNA probe, genetic markers were found in the fetal tissue that were not present in the mother or the alleged father. It was the boyfriend. The baby's not Pearson's, it's Rob's.
You bitch. How could you say your father got you pregnant? You're a liar and a murderer. You wouldn't believe you. How could I believe anything you say? Do you have any idea what you've done to this family? You've destroyed it. Everywhere I go, people point and whisper.
Everywhere you go? What about me?
Why did you murder my brother?
Because she was pregnant, that's why. And that's all.
Grandma.
Well, it's true, isn't it? You were afraid to tell your father you were pregnant, so you paid someone to kill him.
Yeah? Well, you know what? I wish I would have done it myself.
Mr. Gianelli, may I get a statement?
Mr. Gianelli! Mr. Gianelli! Mr. Gianelli! Can you prove that
It's a cold September day in Riverhead, Long Island. A day of interest to all the residents of Suffolk County because it marks the start of the pretrial hearings of Cheryl Pearson and Sean Pica, both indicted by a grand jury for murder.
No, Mr. Gianelli, I see no reason to separate the two cases.
Kate. Ed, what's the deal? You changed to a guilty plea. We reduced the charge to manslaughter. 6 years for Sean, 2 for Cheryl.
Well, I think that's
Cheryl doesn't deserve jail. I'm holding out for a jury trial.
Then, gentlemen, we have to decide right now whether to admit their confessions into evidence. Let's get on with it.
You wanted to stay with us. I can't have that sort of thing here, Cheryl. It's not right, and it's not fair. Look, I know none of this is easy for you, honey, but you gotta have some consideration for me and Mike.
Can I go now?
No, you can't go now. I want your promise. You and Rob are gonna stop this nonsense.
What's the big deal? We're getting married.
Well, you are not married yet. And you are my responsibility, Cheryl. Your mother would have a fit.
You leave my mother out of this.
Where are you going?
Out. I'm not in jail yet, Alberta. And Alberta keeps on about Mom. Everybody hates me. Except Rob.
And me?
Yeah, and you. You know, I just wish that I didn't have to keep talking about it.
So gross.
I don't regret doing it, you know.
Listen, there were times that I wanted him dead too.
So, he'd come and watch you.
Yeah. We did this cheer, you know, for the team.
Okay. Hey, all you Newfield fans, stand up and clap your hands. Now that you've got the beat, this time move your feet. Newfield will never lose, cause we can really move. We got the power, we got the might, we got the team that's here to fight. So Wolverines! Yeah!
Then what would happen?
Then we'd come home, I'd take a shower, you know, and there he'd be.
Where would he be?
Right there in the shower with me.
I believe she was sexually abused. The Cossers believe it. Even the cop who arrested her believes it, but we don't have any proof. And the thing that's going to hurt us the worst is Cheryl herself.
How so?
She is so cold. She's totally unremorseful.
That coldness you're seeing is how she coped, Paul. She learned to push her feelings down so that she could handle the two lives she was leading. She was a schoolgirl by day, and she was literally her father's wife at night. She had to separate those two in her mind. It's how she survived. I don't have to tell you about incest. It's the best kept secret in America. These kids live in silence inside. They can't talk about it because there is a part of them that refuses to believe it's true.
Like the family refuses to believe it's true, and the neighbors refuse to believe that it's true. Somebody must have seen something.
I've known Cheryl since grade school. We're not close like we were. You know, people go in different directions, they make different friends. I got really...
Diana, why did you ask to see me?
Well, everybody's saying that Cheryl's making up that stuff about her dad. I don't think she is. When her mom was in the hospital, I'd go over to her house after school, you know, just to help out. Her dad was weird, Mr. Gianelli. We'd be in her room talking, and he'd yell at her if she shut the door. He'd follow her around. And she wasn't allowed to go out by herself. She wasn't allowed to wear makeup or have any boyfriends.
He was strict with her. Is that what you mean?
It was more than that. He taped her phone conversations. If I called her, it was when she was at the Cossers. It was like he was jealous about her.
But you never saw any abuse.
Yes, I did. Well, the results of it.
What?
It was on Valentine's Day a couple of years ago.
Okay, what about this boy Glenn?
What about him?
What about him? I know what this boy wants from you, even if you don't. I want you seeing him in the morning.
Yes, Daddy.
Yes, Daddy. I bet you made him a Valentine. I bet you got him a Valentine so he'll see how hot you are for him.
I didn't send him a card. Honest. I didn't send any cards at all.
What's this? You are a lying bitch.
Did you see what happened?
He punched her in the face for sending a Valentine's card?
That's how possessive he was. Like a lover, not like a father. I knew something was going on.
How did you know?
I asked her. I'll never forget her face. She looked so lost. It was like she wanted to tell me, but she couldn't find the words. I mean, I asked her if something was going on with her and her dad. And she didn't say no.
What's going on, Rob? Mr. Gianelli says
It's just the deal my lawyer made with the prosecutor, baby, that's all. All right, I agreed to testify. They dropped the charge to criminal solicitation, all right? It doesn't mean anything.
But you'll have to tell them.
It's not like what happened is a big secret, Cheryl. I mean, Sean confessed. He already told them.
And you'll have to testify against me?
Look, first off, I'm 19, okay? I'm not a juvenile, okay? If they busted me for conspiracy, I could go away forever. Now that you changed your plea, they're sure to give you probation, baby. That's all. All right, you'll be out, home free. Hey, what good would I be to you if I was in jail the rest of my life, huh?
Time to go.
Howard, can you... Excuse me. Please. You're not going to believe this. She changed her plea to guilty.
What?
She and Pica are pleading guilty to manslaughter. They got cold feet.
Because Rob turned state's evidence.
Well, I guess Gianelli thought it would be better for Cheryl. I see you in court.
Thank you. You realize you're giving up trial by jury.
Yes.
Speak up, please.
Yes.
You are an eligible
about her effect on the jury. I thought it was too risky.
I don't blame him.
And I'll consider the possibility of treating you as a youthful offender. If I sentence you, the maximum will be 6 years with a 2-year minimum. You'll get no more than that.
Around November 1985, did you have a conversation with Sean Pica?
Yes.
In that conversation, did you ask him to kill your father?
Yes.
Why did you want him to kill your father?
He was sexually abusing me. Sean!
Yeah?
What happened last night? I thought that you were gonna do...
My mom had a bunch of stuff for me to do. I couldn't get out of the house.
Please, Sean. I can't take much more of this. You're the only one that can help me.
Okay.
You understand you're giving up trial by jury.
Yes.
I promised your attorney I would consider giving you youthful offender treatment. The maximum sentence you would receive would be 25 years in jail, with a minimum of 8 1/3. Take a seat, Mr. Pico.
Did you have a discussion with Cheryl Pearson in November 1985?
Yes.
Did she indicate that she was being abused by her father?
Yes.
Sexually abused?
Abused.
And on the morning of February 5th, 1986, did you load that rifle?
Yes.
With how many rounds?
5.
Did you shoot James Pearson in the back of the head?
Yes.
Did you then approach the body and shoot him some more?
Yes.
And in school the next day, did you receive payment of $400?
Yes.
From whom?
Rob Cuccio.
And there came a time when you requested additional money?
So, what'd you call about?
Well, I did, you know. You guys still owe me $600 and the motorcycles.
I don't have any money yet.
Hey, give us a chance, Sean. She can't just walk out of there with 2 bikes.
How about moving into your dad's rental house? My mom is driving me crazy. I would sure like to get a place on my own.
Not yet. It's too risky. Hey, we have to wait till this blows over, okay?
Okay, no problem. Are you okay?
Yeah. Thanks, Sean.
We gotta go.
You've been Sean's psychologist for almost a year now, right? How would you describe the effects of his parents' divorce on him?
Well, most children blame themselves when a marriage fails. Subsequently, there was a stepfather, as you know, who also abandoned the family. Sean witnessed the verbal and physical abuse of his mother and also experienced abuse himself.
And the other 2 doctors who examined Sean, did you all come to the same conclusion?
Our consensus was that it is most probable, psychologically and psychodynamically, that Sean unconsciously harbored enormous resentment and negative feelings towards his father and his stepfather. Now, the transference of that anger towards this...
Yes. But what does that mean?
Well, Mr. Effman, essentially what that means is the man that Sean killed was not Cheryl Pearson's father at all. It was his own.
Money was not a motivating factor for what Sean Pica did. This was not murder for hire. He made a commitment to a friend, and he kept it.
I have no messages to send to society, Mr. Pica. But I do have a message for you, one that I hope you will think about during your time in prison. You are not being punished for your loyal assistance to a friend. You are being punished for asking for $1,000 and executing a man from ambush. Sean Pica, having committed manslaughter, I hereby sentence you to a maximum of 24 years in jail with a minimum 8-year term.
Oh, God, oh, Joanne. I'm so sorry, Joanne.
May 13th, 1987. Dear Judge Sherman, the reason I'm writing is to let you know how I feel, and so you know the truth and not lies. I was living at the house at the time, and I really didn't see anything. Sometimes we'd watch TV in my father's room, and sometimes we'd fall asleep on my father's bed, and he'd go lay on the couch. My sister often said my father was always laying all over me, but she's wrong, because I saw my sister always laying all over my father. And sometimes she'd say, "Oh, Dad, I love you." Start hugging him and fooling around with my father. My father would catch my sister in lies. My father knew she was a sneak. But of course, my father can't speak for himself. If you think someone's making me say this, you're wrong. Because I'm sitting here on my lawn, by myself and writing how I feel. Sincerely, Joanne Pearson.
Sure wish I could see you more often. When all this is over, you and Jimmy and me will get our own place, and then we can go out and we can have fun whenever we want, okay?
Cheryl, why did you kill Daddy?
Because he was abusing me. And I didn't want anything to happen to you. Joanne, why'd you write that letter, huh?
Because I wanted to.
Marilyn made you do it, didn't she? I know she did. She's brainwashing you.
I wrote it myself. I wanted to.
Don't you understand that I did it for you? To protect you? I did it because I love you. I didn't want anything to happen to you.
I don't believe he was doing what you say. You tell lies to everyone. Daddy loved us. He was my father, too.
Joanne!
I hate you, Cheryl. I hate you!
Joanne! It was in the car when me and my dad went to see my mom in the hospital. He touched me then.
And how did you feel about that?
First, it made me happy because before then he didn't even know I existed.
Now, Cheryl, you said that sexual intercourse started when you were, let's see, 13?
Uh-huh.
And what were the usual circumstances?
Mostly it was just touching, you know. Like I'd touch him and stuff. And then when Mom died, it was like the whole thing, like 2 or 3 times a day.
Did your father use birth control?
Well, he knew when it was safe and when it wasn't.
And after you met Rob, your father continued the sexual intercourse?
Yeah. He said, pretend it's Rob. I hated it.
The probation department finds Cheryl unremorseful, totally dispassionate, self-centered, and immature. Although it seems likely that she was abused, it cannot be substantiated. Further, we feel the defendant was aware of possible alternatives available to her. Acting in concert with her paramour, she decided to pursue a course of action which resulted in her father's murder.
The witnesses will paint a vivid and realistic picture of the life Cheryl Pearson was living during the years before her father's death.
Your Honor, the prosecution does not intend to contest the defendant's claimed incestuous relationship with her father. The only person who knows that happened for sure is the person who had her father killed. We will hear from the police department just how often incest is reported in Suffolk County. But why did she take someone's life? Why was her situation special? Why was it different from all the other incestuous situations? Why does she deserve probation? A mere pat on the head.
I thought Jim, Mr. Pearson, that is, I thought he was too rough on the kids. Like at meal times, they weren't allowed to talk. And he was physically rough with them. It would start with kidding around. And he'd pull their hair and he'd say, "What do you say to me?" And he wouldn't let up until he heard, "I'm sorry, Daddy."
What else did you observe?
Cheryl was always in the bedroom with her father watching TV. Kathy told me she wanted her out of there.
And, where would Kathy be?
On a couch. She even talked to Jim about it. He accused her of being jealous. Cheryl and Joanne came over for dinner. And Joanne up and says, "Cheryl slept with Daddy last night."
Did you suspect sexual contact between Cheryl and her father?
Yes.
Did you go to the authorities?
I did not. But I didn't see anything. How could I be sure? I was afraid of Jim.
If Cheryl Pearson had told you that her father was abusing her, would you have done something to help?
Yes.
What would you have done?
Told my husband. Taken her away to someplace safe.
He was very crude. Always smacking the children, pulling their hair, punching them.
Are you against hitting kids?
No, I'm not.
Then, what upsets you about this kind of physical violence?
I wouldn't want to be punched the way he punched his son.
Mr. Kosser, how did Mr. Pearson act with Cheryl?
He was always fondling her, rubbing her bottom.
Did you ever consider contacting the authorities?
I didn't feel that I had enough proof. I felt that I was the one with the evil mind.
Me and Cheryl were on the phone, and suddenly she says she's got to go take a nap with her father. I told my mom, and she said to call the police. I talked her out of it.
Did you witness contact between Mr. Pearson and Cheryl?
Yes, he'd lift her over his head and his hand would go between her legs.
You told your mother? And what did she do?
Nothing.
I went to the guidance counselor at school. I went twice. The first time she was busy. And my father said to go and speak to her again. I told her I thought something was going on with Cheryl and her father.
And what did the counselor say?
She said, "I can't take your word for it. Cheryl will have to come and see me herself."
Why did you assume something was going on?
Her father was so possessive. She couldn't talk on the phone. He'd come to school and watch her. He bought her all this expensive jewelry.
So a father is concerned. Therefore, we know sex is going on?
Why did you think it was sexual?
It wasn't normal.
Of the many adults who have spoken here in this courtroom today, most suspected abuse, but you are the only person who took steps to help. I admire your courage, my dear.
Your Honor, if the prosecution has no objection, I'd like to call James Pearson, Jr. I realize he has been in court through the proceeding.
Mr. Jablonski?
No objection.
I think the court is more interested in information than procedure, Mr. Gianelli. Call your witness.
Please raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do. You are James Pearson, Jr.?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson, what was your physical relationship with your father?
He hit me. I got hit.
Did he ever show physical affection?
The only time was when my mother passed away. I could never please him.
What about your mother? Could you please her?
Yes, by not upsetting my father.
What was your response when Cheryl told you she wanted her father killed?
I told her to hang in there. I had gone through the abuse and she was going through it. Next it'd be Joanne's turn.
What sort of abuse did you mean?
Physical abuse.
And what did she say?
She said that she would take Joanne away. That she couldn't leave her behind.
All right.
Mr. Gianelli, call your witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. I call Cheryl Pearson to stand. Cheryl, what is your earliest memory of your father?
I'm on a black mini bike and he's teaching me how to ride.
How old were you at that time?
9.
Now, while your mother's health was good while you were young, did there come a time that changed?
Yes. When I was about 11, she was hospitalized a lot.
And what would happen when you went to visit her?
My father and I would talk and stuff in the car, and my head would be in his lap, and he'd touch my back and rub my rear end and make me sit close to him.
How did that make you feel?
I thought he was showing affection. Made me feel happy.
Miss Pearson, will you please speak up?
I thought he was showing affection. It made me happy.
Did you ever consider asking him to stop doing that?
I asked him why he was touching me, and he said he touched me because he loved me and to never let anyone else touch me.
Now, as you grew older, did things change?
Yeah. He got more possessive. He'd go in my room and go through my pocketbook, and I was always saying I'm sorry. And if I didn't, well, he'd get very tense and pick a fight with my mother.
And when you let him do what he wanted,
He'd be calm, normal.
now you heard Alberta Kosser describe how she spoke to you about your relationship with your father. Do you recall that conversation?
Yeah. She was in the kitchen with my mother, and I came out to get my dad a soda.
Cheryl, honey, you're too big to be watching TV with your dad every night. You should watch in your own room.
Okay. I did watch TV in my room for a couple of days. He got real mean. What's the matter? I'm not good enough to watch TV with? Things got very tense in the house. So I went back.
Cheryl, how did you deal with the sexual situations?
I just lie there. He breathed in my face. He just stared at me. I put a pillow over my face. Until it was over. I blocked it out.
Did your father's relationship with Joanne change after your mother died?
Well, I met the cheerleading team at school, and I'd go to games. I'd come home and find her watching TV with him like I used to.
And what did you do?
Well, it made me mad. I'd tell her to go to bed, and then I'd go in his room.
Cheryl, do you think your mother knew what was going on?
When she was sick, and he'd be with me, I'd say, I can't believe you. Your wife is in the hospital in a coma, and you're here with me. And he'd say, don't you run guilt trips on me. I figured if she was in heaven, she was probably watching. I figured she must be pretty mad at me.
Mr. Gianelli, for the last week, we've listened to 17 witnesses. We've heard about the vulgarities, the gross and abusive conduct, the intimidation. We've heard from neighbors and psychiatrists. How much more do we have to listen to?
Your Honor, it is my sense that neither the court nor the prosecution has yet accepted as fact the sexual abuse of my client by her father. I call William Everett to the stand.
Stepbrother.
Raise your right hand, please. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Mr. Everett, what was your relationship to the late Kathleen Pearson?
Stepbrother.
When was the last time you saw her?
In 1982, at my father's funeral.
On that occasion, did you have a conversation with Kathleen?
I did. I was taking her to the hospital, and I asked her why all of a sudden she needed kidney transplant. She told me her kidneys had deteriorated because of the beatings James Pearson had given her.
What did you say to that?
I asked her why he had beaten her. She told me he'd been molesting Cheryl and she'd confronted him about it. She further told me he said she had better say nothing more, or the next time the beating would be worse.
Thank you.
like that, huh?
Yeah, can we go again soon?
If you're good.
Oh, I love you, Daddy.
I love you too.
Some authorities maintain that the children of incestuous parents are taught to be seductive. It's their only way of getting positive reinforcement.
So it's a learned behavior.
Oh, yes.
How did Cheryl's relationship with Rob Cuccio impact on the household?
It increased James Pearson's fear of losing her. Every time she returned from a date with Rob, her father would insist on having sex. He might let them go to a movie together, then he'd follow and sit 2 rows behind them. And as she saw more of Rob, her father was alone more with Joanne.
In your opinion, Doctor, did Cheryl have reason to fear potential sexual abuse of her sister?
Yes. In 40% of incest cases, the perpetrator will start to abuse the younger sister.
The nightmare of this court, Doctor, is that some other abused 15 or 16-year-old is going to read about this case and think murder is acceptable.
Oh, yes? Well, my nightmare, Your Honor, is the victim of an incestuous parent thinking it's better just not to say anything.
When Cheryl Pearson goes to jail, we'll be saying it's the wrong thing to kill the abuser.
Mr. Cuccio,
Mr.
why
Cuccio,
haven't you
please.
granted any interviews to the press?
A statement for the press. Mr. Cuccio, anything.
Hey, Rob, how does it feel to be testifying against your girlfriend?
Rob.
After Sean got out of the car, she told me who he was. She'd said she'd been talking to someone. I put 2 and 2 together.
She'd been talking about what?
About finding someone to kill her father.
And what did you tell her?
I told her it was crazy. No one in the 10th grade could do it.
You said she should get a professional?
Yes.
Mr. Cuccio, did you and Cheryl discuss her getting her father's money?
No, money was never an issue.
Your father testified that you and Cheryl will probably be getting married.
Yeah, I hope so.
Have you told any lies here to help Cheryl?
No. Well, I've told the truth.
Thank you.
Cheryl Pearson fits the profile of a sexually abused child. The last thing the district attorney's office wants is to convict her of murder and give her 15 years to life. James Pearson was a terrible father, and we would have loved to prosecute him for his conduct. But we never got the chance. We never got the chance because Cheryl Pearson was prosecutor, judge, and jury. She decided that another life should be taken. She arranged it. For her to be given probation will perpetuate that kind of conduct in others. And that is why we are asking the court to sentence her as an adult, pleading guilty to manslaughter. The message of this trial must be, if you take the law into your own hands, you will go to jail.
Yes, taking a parent's life is the most shocking thing a person can do. But what about events leading up to the taking of that life? What if they're shocking? Cheryl Pearson's silence is terrible. So was that of her mother. Kathleen Pearson went to the grave with her secret and left her daughter to live a life of hell. But the most deadly silence is that of the community in which Cheryl Pearson lived. That is shocking. Think of Cheryl during that last year of James Pearson's life. Think of the mixed signals she was getting. More freedom to be with Rob, which resulted in more contact between her father and her little sister, who she wanted to protect more than anything. Think of the pressure of her boyfriend knowing she was having sex with her father. Think of that. All this on a 16-year-old girl.
The toughest thing for this court to accept is that there was help available. It would have taken so little for her to tell someone.
Like Mr. Jablonski, Your Honor? He wouldn't have believed her. He'd have demanded proof. Sir, we've heard police department testimony that in 1987 there were 356 reported cases of incest in single-parent homes in this county. Not one report was made by a victim. In asking you to not send Cheryl Pearson to jail, I would also ask that you consider the kind of girl she is. She's not a streetwise kid. She's an immature, sheltered girl of the suburbs. At some point, she's going to have to put all this behind her and get on with her life. She did live through the hell of Magnolia Drive. And I suppose she could learn to live through the hell of prison. But I'm asking the court to be merciful.
I am an incest survivor who was silent for 35 years. Silent in words and action, but not silent in the rage that lived inside me.
As a desperate and terrorized 14-year-old, I seriously considered killing my father. I wanted to sneak up on him in his sleep as he did me.
The real murderer is her father, who seduced, violated, and betrayed his child's trust. There was no place and no one for her to turn to.
No. Oh, no! Oh, baby.
All right.
Cheryl Pearson approached the bench. Is there anything you wish to say?
sorry.
Is that all? There are some things that I want to say. During the course of this proceeding, I have received over 100 letters from people urging me to be lenient with you. Most were victims or survivors of domestic violence, including sexual abuse and incest. Many of them exhibited great sympathy and interest for what you suffered and your need to escape, although none of them condone the method you used to end your plight, and nor do I. The publicity and interest engendered by your misfortune may produce some benefit for other victims who seek a way out of their unhappiness. They must be made aware of the many agencies pledged to help the innocent. Perhaps victims such as yourself and friends of victims who are aware of their condition will be encouraged to report to these agencies and thus avoid the consequences of the actions which you took. Cheryl Pearson, I hereby sentence you to 5 years probation, and as part of that sentence, you are to serve 6 months in the county jail.
Mike!
In ancient Hebraic criminal law, a daughter was justified in killing her father to prevent incest from taking place. I believe Cheryl was the object of frequent and repeated acts of sexual intercourse by her father, but nowadays help is available for the victim. Nobody has to do what she did.
What was I supposed to do? Tell someone? Like Alberta? I didn't want anyone else to get hurt. I wish I could go home for Christmas, Jim. I want to be with my family.
I'll be there when you get out. Hey, you, me, and Rob, right?
Right.
If every day you're in here, I tie another ribbon around that tree across from the house. No, I figure with good behavior and time served, they won't even make it to the first branch.
Are we gonna be all right?
Maybe the only thing I want, the only thing I care about is for you to be free.